At Christmas, I sat at an empty spot. No plate, no napkin. I asked, "Is there a plate for me?" Replied, "There wasn't enough food for everyone. But my brother's girlfriend got seconds. I didn't make a scene, I just did that. Well, let's go. My name is Nalani Crestwell, and I'm 29 years old. I work as a programmer for a tech company in Ravenwood, Washington, pulling in a decent salary writing code and fixing bugs. It's not glamorous, but it pays well and I'm good at it. My family lives 3 hours away in a small town outside Ashford, Oregon. There's my dad, Camarion Crestwell, who's 63 and retired after his heart problem started 2 years ago. My mom, Celine Crestwell, is 59 and used to work part-time at a local boutique until Dad got sick. Then there's my older brother, Griffin Crestwell, who's 34. He's always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. Growing up, I learned early that I wasn't the favorite. When I was 8 and Griffin was 12, I won first place in the school science fair. I was so excited to show Mom and Dad. They nodded and said, "That's nice." Then spent the rest of dinner talking about Griffin making the baseball team. He hadn't even played a game yet, but somehow that was more important than my trophy. When I was 16, I got accepted into a summer coding camp, a really competitive program. Only 20 kids in the entire state got in. Dad said it was too expensive and they couldn't afford it. 2 months later, Griffin wanted to go on a school trip to Argentina. Somehow, they found $3,800 for that. I paid my own way through college with scholarships and 2 part-time jobs. Griffin got everything paid for by Mom and Dad. When he dropped out after 2 years, they just shrugged and said college wasn't for everyone. When I suggested taking a semester off to save money, Mom cried and said I was throwing my life away. That's how it always was. Griffin was the sun, and I was just some distant planet they occasionally remembered existed. 2 years ago, Dad had a heart attack. It wasn't massive, but it scared everyone. He couldn't work anymore, and Mom quit her job to take care of him. That's when the calls started. Not hard calls. More like "we need money for Dad's medication" calls. I started paying their bills, electric, gas, water, groceries, Dad's prescriptions. Then it was online orders, streaming services, phone bills. I set up automatic payments from my account because it was easier than dealing with their constant requests. Every month, thousands of dollars went straight from my paycheck to keeping their lives comfortable. They never said thank you. Not once. It was just expected, like I owed them for being born. Christmas morning, I woke up early and loaded my car with presents. I bought nice stuff too, things I thought they'd actually like. A new reader tablet for Dad so he could read without straining his eyes. A merino wool shawl for Mom. A gaming headset for Griffin because he'd mentioned wanting one. The drive took 3 hours. Traffic was light and I made good time. I pulled up to their house around noon, right when dinner was supposed to start. I walked in carrying bags of presents and everyone was already at the table. Mom, Dad, Aunt Roslyn, Uncle Pierce, my cousins Mira and Cade. And Griffin sitting there with this auburn-haired woman I'd never seen before. "Nalani," Mom said. "You're late. We already started." I wasn't late. I was exactly on time, but okay. "Everyone, this is Hazley Redden," Griffin announced, his arm wrapped around the woman. "My girlfriend." Hazley smiled, a huge fake smile. So nice to finally meet Griffin's family. I'd never heard of Hazley before. Turns out they'd been dating for a month. 1 month, and she was at Christmas dinner. I looked at the table. Hazley was sitting in my usual spot, right next to Mom. The seat I'd sat in every Christmas for 29 years. She had a full place setting. Decorations, cloth napkin, the works. "Where should I sit?" "Yes." Mom waved toward the far end. "Just grab a chair from the kitchen." I walked to the end of the table, past all the decorations and fancy place settings, to an empty spot with nothing. No plate, no napkin, no silverware, just bare wood. I sat down and waited. Everyone was eating and talking, laughing about something Uncle Pierce said. Hazley was telling some story about her internship, and Mom was hanging on every word like it was the most fascinating thing she'd ever heard. Then they started serving seconds. Mom walked around with the roasted duck, giving everyone more. She passed right by me. "Mom," I said. She didn't even look at me. Hazley held out her plate. "This is amazing, Celine. Could I have more potatoes?" "Of course, sweetheart." Mom rushed to the kitchen and came back with a huge spoonful of garlic mash, then gave Hazley extra stuffing too. I sat there with no food. Not even a dinner roll. "Is there a plate for me?" finally asked. Mom turned around, annoyed I'd even spoken. "Oh, Nalani. There wasn't enough food for everyone. You don't mind, do you? You're always so understanding." She said it loud enough for everyone to hear, like it was totally normal to invite your daughter to Christmas dinner and then not feed her. Hazley piled more food on her plate. Mom helped her, smiling and chatting like they were best friends. I watched Hazley take second helpings of everything while I sat at the bare end of the table with nothing. Something inside me snapped. Not loud, not dramatic. Just final. I stood up, grabbed the bags of presents I brought, and walked to the door. "Nalani," Dad called out. "Where are you going?" I didn't answer. I got in my car and started driving. My phone started ringing before I even made it to the highway. Mom first, then Dad, then Griffin. I didn't pick up. Then the texts started coming in. "Griffin, what is wrong with you?" "Mom, you just ruined Christmas for everyone. I hope you're satisfied." "Dad, your mother is crying. Come back and apologize." I turned my phone to silent and kept driving. 3 hours back to Ravenwood. 3 hours to think about every Christmas, every birthday, every single moment I was pushed aside for Griffin. Every time my accomplishments were ignored. Every time I needed support and got nothing. This wasn't about a plate. This was about 29 years of being invisible. When I got home, I sat in my living room with all the lights off, just thinking. The presents were still in their bags by the door. I'd spent hours picking them out, wrapping them carefully, choosing things they'd love. For people who couldn't even bother to save me a plate. The calls and messages kept coming for 2 days. Then they stopped. No one called on December 26th. No one called on the 27th. By December 28th, I realized something. They didn't care that I left. They cared that I embarrassed them. On January 3rd, I called my bank. The representative answered on the second ring. "I need to close a credit card," I said. "Can I have the account number?" I gave her the information. It was a card I'd opened years ago in my name, but my parents had been using it. Groceries, gas, random purchases. The bills came to me, and I paid them every month. "It's now closed and cancelled," she said. "Is there anything else I can help you with?" "No. That's all. Thank you." I hung up and sent a message to the family group chat. "I'm no longer paying for your expenses. Handle them yourselves." I muted the chat without waiting for a reply. 30 minutes later, notifications flooded in. I unmuted it just to see what they were saying. Mom left a voice note. Press play. "Nalani, I don't know what has gotten into you, but this is completely unacceptable. We are your parents. We raised you, fed you, clothed you, and this is how you repay us. By abandoning us when we need you most. Your father and I are shocked and deeply hurt by your selfishness. Call us back immediately so we can address this." Not a single word about Christmas dinner. Not one apology. Just guilt, entitlement, and rewriting history. Dad texted. "I can't buy groceries." The card declined. "What are we supposed to do?" Griffin. "Stop being dramatic. Turn the card back on." Then the extended family chimed in. Aunt Roslyn, Uncle Pierce, my cousins, even distant relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. "You owe them. They raised you. Family means sacrifice. You're being ungrateful." I didn't respond. I watched them send message after message. And felt nothing. No guilt. No sadness. Just clarity. 3 days later, on January 6th, my doorbell rang. I checked the peephole, Mom and Dad. Mom held a plastic bag. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. "Nalani," Mom said, smiling like nothing happened. "We've been so worried." We brought cookies. She held up a bag of cheap store-brand cookies. Not even the kind Dad used to bake from scratch when I was little. We don't understand what happened, Dad said. Why you reacted so strongly. We're concerned about your mental health. My mental health. I repeated. Yes, Mom said. You've been emotional. Maybe you need professional help. You didn't save me a plate, I said. I drove 3 hours, and you didn't even give me food. Dad waved his hand. That was a misunderstanding. There just wasn't enough. You know how things get. There was enough for Hazley to get seconds twice. Well, she's Griffin's guest. We wanted to make her feel welcome. And I'm what? The house ghost. Mom sighed, annoyed. Nalani, you've always been the strong one. The independent one. We thought you could handle it. I stared at her. They didn't forget me. They chose not to consider me. We know you didn't mean to hurt us, Mom continued, voice softening. But you need to understand you owe us. We're your parents. We gave you life. The least you can do is help us when we need it. The way she said it, like it was a fact of nature, settled something inside me. I'm done, I said. I'm done being your backup plan. I'm done being ignored until you need money. I'm done being treated like I don't matter. Nalani. No. I shut the door in their faces and locked it. They stood outside talking for a while. I could hear murmuring through the door, but I didn't open it again. The next morning I found an envelope in my mailbox. No stamp, handwritten. Mom's handwriting. Inside, 5 pages of emotional manipulation. About how I was breaking her heart, how she couldn't sleep, how I was tearing the family apart, how she'd never expected this cruelty from me. There were smudged tear stains on the paper. I tore the letter in half and threw it away. A few days later, the building security guard stopped me in the lobby. Miss Crestwell, a woman stopped by earlier claiming to be a friend. She asked me to give you this. He handed me an envelope. Inside 4 photos. All of my house. Taken at night. In one you could see my silhouette through the living room window. Someone had been watching me in the dark. My hands shook. What did she look like? I asked the guard. Young, auburn hair. About average height. Isley. Griffin's girlfriend of 1 month had been stalking me. I went upstairs, locked my door, closed the blinds, turned on every light. This wasn't about family anymore. This was dangerous. That evening a delivery truck pulled up. The courier brought a package with no return label. Inside was my childhood diary from when I was 12. Pages torn out, cover slashed, stained with something dark red. Paint. Food coloring. Hard to tell. But the message was clear. We can reach your past. We can reach your present. I sealed the diary in a plastic bag. Evidence. That night, when I came home from seeing a movie just to clear my head, I saw it immediately. My garage door covered in red spray paint. Ungrateful wretch. Dripping. Fresh. I sat in my car, chest tight, hands trembling. I checked my security camera footage. A hooded figure spray painting my property. I zoomed in on the car. Arizona plates. Isley's car. They drove across state lines just to vandalize my house. I saved the footage, called a cleaning company, then called a locksmith. New locks on every door, new security system installed. Front, back, sides, windows. I even changed my commute routes. I felt paranoid, but I didn't care. People like that didn't stop until forced. A week later I got a notification from my bank. A withdrawal of $3,200. I hadn't made any purchase. Called immediately. Where did this charge originate? The representative typed. It was authorized through secondary account access from Bell Crossing, Arizona. Used for a resort stay and spa booking. Arizona. Again. Years ago, I'd given Griffin temporary access to my account when Dad needed medication and Mom couldn't go to the pharmacy. I'd forgotten about it. Never removed his access. I need this flagged as fraud and documentation sent to me. Of course. I hung up and opened my laptop. Spa vacation. Thousands of dollars. While they stalked me and destroyed my property. That was it. No more defense. Time to go on offense. I spent the next 2 days gathering everything. Bank statements showing every payment I'd made for my parents over the last 2 years. Receipts for dad's medications, mom's online orders, their utility bills. Every transaction added up to over $46,000. I added the bank's email confirming the unauthorized access to my account. Screenshots of threatening messages from Griffin and the extended family. Photos of the stalking pictures Hazley had left. Photos of my vandalized garage. The ruined diary. Then I made a list. Every relative who'd sent me a nasty message. Every family friend who'd called me selfish. Even the church where mom volunteered. I sent the entire file to all of them with one message. This is what really happened. This is what they've been doing to me. I thought you should know the truth. The response was immediate. My phone buzzed nonstop. Aunt Roslyn called. Nalani, I'm so sorry. Had no idea. Your mother told us you just abandoned them for no reason. Uncle Pierce texted. I feel terrible. We should have asked your side before judging. My cousins sent apology messages. People I hadn't heard from in months suddenly cared. Even the church emailed, saying they were concerned about mom's behavior and needed to speak with her urgently. That made me smile. I changed my banking password. Removed Griffin's access. Cancelled every automatic payment. From utilities to streaming services to grocery funds. Everything shut off. Then I changed my phone number and blocked everyone. Mom, dad, Griffin, cousins, aunts, uncles. Clean slate. Calls began going to my old voicemail inbox. Griffin. Nalani, pick up. We need help. The rent is due and we're short. Nalani, please. We can't afford groceries. Just this once. Nalani, I don't understand why you're doing this. Or family. I deleted them without listening fully. When they called my work line, I answered once. Nalani, thank God. We've been trying to reach you, we need help. Your father's medication. You told me I was strong and independent, remember? So be strong and independent. Figure it out yourselves. I hung up and blocked the number. A month went by. Quiet. Peaceful. I focused on work, started therapy, even got a promotion. Life finally felt like mine. Then a letter arrived. My mom's handwriting again. I nearly threw it away but opened it out of curiosity. It was an apology. Sort of. A lot of. We're sorry you felt hurt. We didn't realize how our actions affected you. Not an apology for doing anything wrong, just for my reaction. Still, it was more than I'd ever gotten. I put it in my drawer and didn't respond. 2 days later, a package arrived at work. My assistant handed it to me. Inside, a box of freshly baked cookies. Dad's recipe. The kind he used to make when I was little. They were still warm. A note. Nalani, we know we hurt you. We took you for granted. Your mother isn't doing well. We're struggling. Please, we're desperate. We're sorry. Dad. I stared at the cookies. For a moment, a brief moment, I felt something tug in my chest. Then I remembered sitting at that Christmas table with no plate. Watching Hazley get seconds while I got nothing. Mom telling me I owed them because they gave me life. I threw the cookies in the trash and went back to work. But Griffin wasn't done. The emails kept coming, angry, demanding. You ruined our lives. You owe us. Send money or we'll make you regret it. Hazley sent her own messages. Long rants about how I should fix what I broke. I saved everything. Then I forwarded every threatening email, along with a bank statement showing the fraudulent $3,200 charge, to Griffin's employer. No commentary. For your awareness. According to mutual friends, problems at work started immediately. Apparently, his boss didn't appreciate having an employee involved in financial misconduct and harassment. But the emails didn't stop. They got worse. Middle of the night. All caps. Rants. That's when I hired a lawyer. Patricia Chen. She listened, reviewed my evidence, and nodded calmly. This is harassment, stalking, vandalism, and financial fraud. We can proceed with restraining orders. Before that, I recommend a cease and desist letter. It's cheaper and often effective. She drafted a letter outlining everything. Photos, bank records, messages, stating that if Griffin and Hazley contacted me again, we would file criminal and civil charges. We sent it certified mail. They had to sign for it. After that, silence. No calls. No emails. No packages. Nothing. 4 months passed peacefully. I worked, slept, cooked, went to therapy, regained sanity I didn't know I'd lost. Then another envelope appeared in my mailbox. No return label, Mom's handwriting. Inside was a single photograph. Mom and Dad standing in what looked like a church basement. Behind a table with a cardboard sign. We accept donations. They looked exhausted. Worn down. Thinner. Older. There was no note. No plea. Just the picture. A silent guilt trip. I stared at it a long time. Waiting for guilt. It didn't come. I put it in my drawer next to the apology letter. Not to cherish, just to remember. That evening I sat in my living room drinking tea, thinking. A year ago I would have sent money. Justified their behavior. Convinced myself family was supposed to hurt and take and demand. Now I knew better. Family wasn't supposed to drain you. Family wasn't supposed to use you. Family wasn't supposed to treat you like an ATM with feelings attached. I thought about Christmas dinner. About sitting at that bare table. About Mom walking right past me. About Hazley eating seconds. And all I felt was relief. Life is different now. I don't spend thousands every month on people who never appreciated it. I don't jump when they call. I don't tolerate emotional abuse disguised as obligation. My bank account is healthier. My mind is calmer. I sleep without crying. Sometimes I wonder how they're doing, if Dad's health is stable, if Mom found a job, if Griffin and Hazley are still together. But wondering isn't caring. And caring isn't helping. I know this probably isn't the end. People like them don't stop. They'll try again. Another letter, another guilt trip, another unannounced visit. But I'm ready this time. I have documentation. Have a lawyer. I have boundaries made of steel instead of wet paper. Most importantly, I have something I never had before. Self-respect. I'm not their safety net, financial plan, or emotional punching bag. I'm not the strong daughter who can handle it, while they give my seat at the table to a stranger. People ask if I feel bad seeing that photo. My parents accepting donations at church. They think I should feel guilty. You don't. Because here's what they don't understand. I gave them 2 years of financial support. Over $46,000. And they never thanked me once. They stalked me. Vandalized my property. Stole from me. Lied about me. Tried to destroy me when I finally said no. That's not family. That's what parasites do when the host finally cuts them off. No. I don't feel bad. Feel free.